The night was a velvet cloak, draped over the world as I embarked on a solitary journey down an unfamiliar highway. The moon hung high, a pale sentinel casting an eerie luminescence that barely touched the edges of the road. The steady rumble of the engine filled the car, accompanied by the faint crackling of the radio, like a ghostly echo from a forgotten era. The highway stretched ahead like an obsidian river, cutting through a landscape of looming trees and inky shadows. Each tree stood like a sentinel, their branches whispering secrets to the wind. It was as if the night held its breath, waiting for something, or someone. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles pale against the leather. My eyes scanning the road ahead. The rearview mirror offered little comfort, revealing only the emptiness of the road left behind. Yet, an unease settled over me, a feeling of being watched, of something unseen trailing behind me. The headlights cut through the darkness, revealing glimpses of the world beyond the asphalt. I blinked, my eyes playing tricks as the shadows seemed to twist and dance at the edges of my vision. The radio's static seemed to waver, as if trying to reach through the veil that shrouded this desolate stretch of road. A chill ran down my spine as a shape emerged from the shadows, a figure standing on the side of the road. I hit the brakes, the tires screeching against the asphalt as I came to a halt. My heart raced as I stared at her, a woman with raven dark hair and eyes that gleamed like twin stars in the night. I rolled down the window, the air outside carrying a hint of something unnatural. "Do you need help?" I called out, my voice a mix of caution and curiosity. She stepped closer, her gaze fixed on me, her lips curving into a ghost of a smile. "You're on a journey, aren't you?" Her voice was like a haunting melody, weaving its way into my thoughts. My pulse quickened, my breath hitching in my throat. "Yes, I am," I replied, my words tinged with uncertainty. Her smile deepened, and for a moment, I thought I saw a glimmer of sadness in her eyes. "Remember that not all roads lead where you expect," she said, her words a cryptic warning that sent a shiver down my spine. Before I could respond, she melted back into the darkness, leaving me alone with my racing thoughts. I hit the gas, the road stretching ahead like an uncharted territory. Time seemed to lose its grip as the miles rolled on, the world outside transforming into a dreamscape of shifting shadows. The highway became a ribbon of obsidian, twisting and turning with a mind of its own. Each curve seemed to blur into the next, a labyrinth that threatened to ensnare me within its grasp, and then, as if emerging from a nightmare, I saw it, a dilapidated motel standing like a relic of a forgotten era. Its neon sign flickered in the distance, a beacon of light that promised refuge from the suffocating darkness. I pulled into the parking lot, the engine's growl fading into an uneasy silence. The motel's facade was weathered, the paint peeling, and the windows dark and vacant. A sense of unease settled over me, but the allure of shelter and the promise of a respite from the road's haunting grip propelled me forward. I stepped out of the car, the air heavy with anticipation, and approached the reception desk. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of old memories, and the floor creaked underfoot as I approached the counter. A figure stood behind it, their features hidden in the shadows. "Welcome," they said, their voice carrying a weight of resignation. "It's been a long time since we had a guest." My heart raced, but the promise of shelter and a respite from the road's haunting grip was too alluring to resist. I accepted the room key, its weight a tangible reminder of the choice I was making. The motel room was dimly lit, the curtains drawn as if to shield the room from the outside world. The air carried an oppressive weight, and the shadows danced on the walls like phantoms in the night. I sank onto the bed, the silence of the room a stark contrast to the world outside. Minutes turned into hours, the ticking of the clock on the wall a constant reminder of the stillness that enveloped the motel. Shadows seemed to shift and contort, taking on shapes that were both familiar and unsettling. Whispers echoed in the air, a symphony of voices that seemed to mock and taunt, and then, in the corner of the room, I saw her, the woman from the roadside, her eyes fixed on me with an intensity that sent a jolt of fear through my veins. I tried to speak, to demand answers, but my words were stolen by the air itself. Her presence was suffocating, as if the walls of the room were closing in around me. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy, and her smile held a promise that sent a wave of terror crashing over me. "You're here now," she whispered, her voice a haunting echo that seemed to resonate within my very soul. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest. Without thinking, I flung open the door and ran down the hallway, the floorboards creaking beneath my feet. The corridor seemed to stretch and twist, as if the very fabric of reality was warping around me. Each step I took only led me deeper into a labyrinth of darkness. The path never ending, and the air thick with the scent of decay. Whispers echoed in the corridors, a symphony of voices that seemed to mock and taunt. The walls seemed to close in, their embrace suffocating, and the shadows danced like malevolent spirits. I ran, my heart racing, my breath ragged. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the corridor opened up into the motel's lobby. The figure behind the counter looked up, their features hidden by shadows. "Did you find what you were looking for?" they asked, their voice carrying a sense of resignation. I stumbled outside, the night air cool against my skin. The highway stretched before me, the moon's pale light a beacon of escape. I jumped into my car, the engine roaring to life, and I sped away from the motel, the memories of that haunting place fading into the distance. As the miles rolled by, the road ahead seemed to stretch with a promise of freedom. But the memory of that night lingered. A chilling reminder of the unknown that lurked in the darkness. The woman's haunting smile and the whispers that had echoed in the shadows were etched into my mind, a story I would carry with me forever. And as the sun began to rise, casting its warm light over the horizon, I glanced in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see her there, her eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. But the road behind me was empty, a void swallowed by the light of day.